Honestly, guys, I just was kind of waiting for this. I was waiting a few days because I know chapter comes out. We have like more Arc 9 stuff, more ground world breaking things that honestly, it kind of changes the way the story kind of is going to flow in the future. And I say this a lot because for the most part, a lot of it is the battle against Aldebrand's group versus literally everyone that he pissed the hell off. And yeah, let's go start this off. Now, I'm going to put it chapter by chapter what major thing it is because I honestly can't predict it this time. I don't know what to predict now because Tape is cooking and he's cooking real good. So something to make a note, and we're in chapter 40. In chapter 40, we have the whole thing that they basically use Rem as a flash grenade or flash grenade. Literally, Subaru. Anyway, so that is essentially to stun Aldebrand because guess what? A certain loop goes back into the play. Now, I do recall people bitching about, I think it was season 2 or season 3 cut content, and people were saying, why are they cutting this out? This is super important. And I don't hear enough complaints about the season 1 cut content, more specifically the Aldebrand stuff. Because I recall an argument in the community, like a while back, saying that it's not important, that it honestly doesn't matter, that the scene is good as is, which is just Aldebrand helping Subaru. And yet, everything goes back to that, how they were able to beat Aldebrand, so I don't know how the anime is going to do that now, because they cut that out. Unless they're going to do a retcon, which I wouldn't be surprised. But not the point. Point is that they use that to their advantage. Al is stunned, because now he remembers Rem, and this buys them enough time to essentially have him be sent flying. And this is through the melancholy witch factor, because Aldebrand actually makes a note. He's not Pride, which is a big thing, because all of us assumed he was going to be Pride, or have the Pride witch factor, but he doesn't have it, which I honestly think he probably has a pseudo envy factor, or something related to Return by Death. It has to be something like that. Something similar to like the Gluttonies, for example. How they each have similar abilities, or I guess they have the exact same ability, but in this case, I want to say it's probably something around those lines that Aldebrand probably has Return by Death, but it's done in a watered down version. Because, yeah, it has its own specificness, but I don't want to really compare Return by Death to whatever the fuck Aldebrand's is. The Matrix, I guess. But anyway, so they use that, it works. They separate Aldebrand, and it almost worked until Ye, this character that I'll show in screen, comes up, like, is with them. So now the fight kind of goes with Rem and Emilia versus Aldebrand and Ye. Something interesting to note is Rem basically saying, "Oh, they're like in love or something," and both of them just immediately like, "Fuck no." Anyway, not the point. It's just funny. Now, there was a line that Aldebrand said that honestly had my attention. Rem is back, and for some reason, he basically says that with her back, the story kind of breaks apart. It's something around the lines of that the story would break apart with her being alive, or in the Witch Cult's translation saying, to begin with, you're not even supposed to be alive, little Miss Ren. Which, I mean, that alone makes me think it's something similar to the Otto versus Roswell's plan in Arc 4, how it never accounted for, well, Otto, and how they were able to get out of that mess. I think something around those lines could be the case. I genuinely couldn't really tell you. It's like 50-50 on that matter. But it doesn't matter because, obviously, who gives a shit, other than the fact that why is Rem not supposed to be alive? Why her being alive breaks the story? It kind of leaves me with a question of, is she a possible key into defeating whatever Aldebrand's thing is? Because so far, he seems to have been able to push brute force his way through into his ultimate goal of throwing Subaru into that great waterfall or into the pit in Karagi. Who knows? Now, that was chapter 40. because the whole big thing about Chapter 40 is that it was that line and Petra's awesome line of just saying, like, we're about to wage war on you guys and doing the Subaru pose, which, you know, if you're doing the Subaru pose, you're essentially going to kick ass, because Emilia's done it. I think Garfield did it at some point. And then obviously Amnesia Subaru. But anyway, now Chapter 41. I mean, it's more fighting. It's basically kind of showing that Hanko's a piece of shit, and Volcanica, and the whole thing of Klein being like part of like the divine dragon, or a dragon. Think of Sebas from Overlord, how he is a dragonoid human, and well, no, he's a dragonoid that takes one form of a human. So this is probably the same with Klein, and how it's Klein and Roswell versus Wallachia with Aldebaran like possessing him, which is pretty cool because now we get one of the greatest fights, because they basically moved them into, I think it was the Pleiades, like far away, so that way Dragonal can't really do jack shit to help his counterpart, and they can all go out, which, I mean, you're screwed. Roswell's been waiting for this moment to kill the Divine Dragon, and now he's gonna get it. Now, moving from that point in Chapter 41, there was something that caught my attention, and it caught everyone's attention, is that Roy Alphard tried to eat Ram, and that did not work. If anything, it kind of had the same effect that it did with Felt, which brings a question. Was it something that could have been with, like, the whole he's not allowed to do things without Aldebaran say so? Or is Ram not her real name? Who would have guessed if that be the case? Now, we know Ram is the real name because, you know, Gluttony got her, like, back in Arc 3. But Ram, that's a bit fishy. Now, hear me out. I got a big theory for this one. A dumb theory, but it'd be kind of funny if it did happen. What if Rem and Ram swapped places? I know. It's probably not true because obviously Rem is using like human Chapter 41, or no, 40. And I mean, it'd be kind of funny if for some reason they're somehow masquerading this. But I mean, I don't know. Could it be that she really isn't Ram? Maybe she's not really the real Ram. Maybe there's something going on where the real one is waiting for the right moment to strike or something. It is unclear, but that was one of the big things of Ram didn't get her name or memories eaten. So do as that what you will, because it's not going to go to the banger chapter that 41 decided to drop us. Because we do get a little more of the Roy versus not only Ram, but Melee and her mob beasts. Like, we got a lot of that, and how, honestly, they're pretty cool. And I honestly thought Roy was going to kick the bucket in this one. He lives for another few chapters, at least from the looks of it. But I'm almost thinking it's because I want to predict that Julius will come in, and we get the iconic Julius versus Roy rematch to essentially have Julius get back his name. Now, the big thing about this chapter is revealing something interesting. Melee does detect that Petra is a Sin Archbishop, probably because she now has the miasma as expected. But no, what Petra says is not to associate her with the witch's cult. No, she is now the Witch of Melancholy. And do you want to know what she gave up? Petra basically gave up the possibility of hugging a stuffed animal, never going to pick up a needle in her life, never going to sing again for the rest of her life. She probably, here's what I'm thinking, she probably gave up being herself, like being Petra Lete, the one happy maid. She gave up her existence, herself, in order to possibly take over the Melancholy, or to possibly help Klein with his, like, melancholic witch factor to work. Now, that is insane, because there's no going back. Unless there's that whole great reset theory that goes around, which, I mean, I don't know if it would be good for Tappei to basically reset everything that just happened here. I don't know. That's insane. Petra, the Witch of Melancholy? A new witch has appeared? This is insane. Oh my gosh. That, I will say this. She is for sure going to be the key factor in defeating Aldebaran. Since there was something of note that Aldebaran said back in chapter 40, and is that only a witch factor or anything with like an authority can really beat him. Because if it were anything else, his authority would essentially be the best counter against anything that's like a divine protection or no divine protection. However, if Petra has the melancholy witch factor, I am almost tempted to say she is going to single-handedly be the key to defeat Aldebaran right here and now, and make sure that he is done so for good. So, my money's on Petra. Now, I also think Rem is going to play a key factor. Aldebaran saying that she's not even supposed to be alive, that she breaks the story of her being alive, that kind of stuff, then she is a key factor in his defeat as well. But Petra is going to be the main one to defeat him. Because you need an authority to defeat another authority. And, I mean, holy shit, Tappei, like... I honestly don't know what to say other than, damn, you really know how to make things peak. But, yeah, overall, those are my thoughts. I don't really have a theory for this time, actually. I don't know what to predict other than the fact that Petra is going to be the main one who's going to defeat Aldebaran. Well, Petra and Ghost Subaru, but, you know, Petra, because she sacrificed everything in order to save Subaru. Which makes me think, does that mean that she didn't let go of her love for Subaru? Or maybe, because she's not going to be Petra anymore, that's kind of irrelevant at this point. But it's such a big shift that it would change the world to get rid of a camp member from the Emilia camp. We already have Otto who lost his memories, but I almost doubt that that's going to stay permanent. Now, if it does, holy shit. But, honestly, this whole thing is just insane.